Hey guys, this is Shannon with Black Sheep House. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to get this really cool finish. So if that's something that you want to learn how to do, then just keep watching. We'll call this humble beginnings. This dresser wasn't much to look at to start, but we're going to make it beautiful. Starting with my Zinnser 123 primer. I buy this on Amazon or Home Depot, whichever works better for me at the time. And if I go to Home Depot, I have them tint it for me in the color Open Canyon. Sometimes they do it and sometimes they don't, but it helps just give me a little bit more coverage. The ugly fan design had to go, so I'm giving it a quick clean with Simple Green and then filling it with plastic wood filler. And I'm using a 2.5 inch putty knife to get it nice and flat as possible. And then whatever I can't flatten out completely, I will sand down with a 220 grit sanding block. I do this first so I give myself some time for it to dry, because it might take almost a whole day to dry depending on your climate. This is the same stuff I use to fill in holes when I want to put the handles in different spots, or I want to fill in just one hole and put in like a single handle. So I always have a tub of this stuff around. Before I clean the drawers, I'm going to remove the handles. Don't ever let removing the hardware intimidate you, because it's just as easy as a couple screws and then voila. Using my Simple Green and a paper towel or a lint-free cloth, you can just give it a good wipe down. The next step we're going to be doing is applying some primer. It's the same one that I talked about earlier. The Zinnser Bin 123 primer works great at blocking any bleed through that might happen, which is a common complaint for people when they're painting something white, especially if it was dark or had been stained before. But this works great at blocking that. The chalk paint itself will stick really well and you don't need a primer, but I wanted to apply it to block any bleed through. That was my main goal with that. Next, we get to apply the chalk paint. Chalk paint is such a great product and you really can't go wrong. There are so many different brands and all of them offer a little bit of a different advantage. The chalk paint that I'm using in this video is Rust-Oleum chalk paint. It's easily found on Amazon. It's very affordable. I think it gives great coverage and I've used lots of different chalk paints. Now, if you go with something a little bit more high-end like Annie Sloan or Jolie or Dixie Belle chalk paints, you're going to get a little bit better coverage. They are going to be a little bit flatter and not show as many brush strokes. I mean, they are superior products, but they come with a hefty price tag, and for refinishing furniture per profit, for like what I do, it just doesn't make sense to invest in those high-end products at this time. Maybe if they sponsor me, we can talk about using the more expensive products on my projects. One thing that Rust-Oleum doesn't offer that some of the other brands do is a wide selection of colors if you're wanting to paint something in a different color. But Behr just came out with their own chalk paint at Home Depot that you can have tinted to literally any color that you want. You can tell them Annie Sloan's Duck Egg Blue or Sherwin-Williams Pure White or whatever it is, and they can match it, which is pretty awesome. I've used the Behr chalk paint and I liked it. I didn't love the coverage for the white that I used, but the colored ones were just fine. I think a lot of people who are new to chalk painting are wondering why should they use chalk paint over regular paint, and generally the reason is for distressing techniques, you can use the chalk paint and distress it, and it sands really easily. Whereas if you're using a latex paint, it doesn't sand very well. It kind of peels away. So in my opinion, for painting furniture that is going to be distressed, and just in general painting furniture, chalk paint is a little bit more forgiving and is going to work a little bit better for furniture projects. Next, you are going to have to wax. That is a bit of the trade-off with using a chalk paint, is it has to have a top coat. But in my opinion, a top coat is such a great thing to add to your furniture. It's going to make it last so much longer than if you just painted it with latex paint and left it. On this project, I'm using Behr's clear wax. It's from their chalk paint line, and I really like it. You're going to apply it with a lint-free cloth. I like to put my 2 fingers in there and apply it in circles, and then you can go back after it's dried for like 20 minutes or so and buff it if you like. I honestly don't go back and buff most of my projects. I like the matte look, and all I'll do is go back and just get rid of any like little pieces of wax that maybe have hardened and sort of stuck on the project that I didn't rub all the way in. The reason I chose to use wax on this particular project is because I painted this white, and the number one problem when you're painting white is bleed through. I talked about that earlier, and that's when you get these funny pink little dots that show up on your project as you're moving along. And sometimes when you apply a water-based top coat, it can pull bleed through all the way through your chalk paint, even though it wasn't showing up when you chalk painted. It's the weirdest thing, but wax really solves that problem, and you just don't even have to worry about it. The other great thing about wax is it has this really buttery, smooth feel that I just really like, and I love the fact that you can just use it and it's so easy to apply. It's very forgiving. There's going to be no brush strokes. It's a really nice finish. I'm going to give you guys a bonus hack in this video. I'm taking these ugly 80s hardware. I'm using a couple of pliers. Oh, my husband told me what these are called, but I totally forgot. Vice grip? I think they're called vice grips. Anyway, I use 2 pliers and just bend the metal until it breaks. After it breaks, your little piece that holds the handle will pop out, and just like that. And then the ugly part will be disconnected, and voila, you have a simple classic handle that is timeless in my opinion. This makeover just blows my mind. We totally rocked it, and I'm so happy with how it turned out. Make sure to watch the wood top video. I'm going to be posting that just after I post this one. And thanks for watching. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Bye!